Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, April. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Brother Edward?
Let's see. Is that April? I don't see any glasses on. Mike.
No glasses tonight. Yeah.
It's all right.
I don't even know where my glasses are. That's crazy because I have about 1,000 pair over here.
Oh well. What our guests have to talk about tonight is really gonna make you put your glasses on. Yeah, we're talking about the legacy, the main legacy, Whittemore Legacy, this evening. So we'll start with the new legacy room that has just been developed for I think it's Whittemore Park School, junior intermediate school, I guess. Whittemore Park, yeah. Middle school, yeah, we call it middle. Yeah, okay. But anyway, good evening to our guests. I mean, to our audience also, primarily, yeah. Also, and welcome to the program this evening. We have interesting guests as usual, and this evening, of course, we want to talk about, as you've seen in our promo, about the legacy that is getting a robust. Would use the word restart, but it's continuing on, and the community interest has just been magnificent. It's getting back to the point where it's going to be worthwhile, very worthwhile to bring back into play. So April, we'll start with our guest tonight, who can give us some different perspectives, I presume, on their involvement with the new robustness, for lack of a better word, of Whittemore, the legacy of Whittemore. And so, April, I'll turn it over to you and can introduce our guest.
Okay, well, we're just going to bring on our special guest tonight. We have Becky Dewitt, who is, of course, a local author, a community icon, I call her. She's the curator of the Whittemore Park Legacy Room. And we'll find out what that means later on if you don't know what that means. We also have Dr. Franklin Gause, who is no stranger to our show. He's here to, of course, give us his perspective on why it's important to have a room like this, and also to celebrate our history and to actually capture our history, not only in, just photos, but in spaces like this. And then we have retired Judge Aaron Butler. He's here with us tonight as well to join the conversation. And Aaron's going to speak with us just from the standpoint of being a Whittemore alumni and what it all means to the alumni of Whittemore. And so we welcome all of you tonight to this very special program. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, April.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we just want to encourage our special guests to, answer questions as you see them coming up in the chat. And our viewing audience, please drop your questions and comments for our guests if you want to know more about, what's been put together at the Community Legacy Room, but also how you can get involved. We're going to talk about the community aspects of everything. I just want to go ahead and say tonight, thank you to Josephine Burgos of Charlotte, North Carolina, and Verdell Beckman out of Columbia, South Carolina, for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Priscilla Fuller, always a pleasure to see you, and Shirley Wiggins. If you are watching tonight from Facebook or YouTube, please share the broadcast. If you're sharing from YouTube, you can capture it and actually put in a text message and send it out to everyone. You can also go to wcmagazine.net to watch the broadcast tonight and for the next week until we have the new show. So, Becky, how are you tonight?
I am excellent. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Yes. And I want to start with you because, of course, I don't even know how long it took you to get everything together, but I know you and I had a conversation once upon a time when you were about to embark upon this initiative, and you were super excited then. And I think the excitement level in you has not dissipated. You are still excited, even though the room is done. And that means that there's probably more on the horizon knowing you. So let's start with just talking a little bit about who you are and then get into why you got involved with this project.
Well, actually, they called me and asked me to help with this project as a part of the building program. I'm retired from the district. But the great thing about this, first thing I want to say, this was the tip of the iceberg. This was the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that can be done. Okay. And the funny thing about this is it took 9 months to give birth to this. So when we opened the room at, the grand opening of the school, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Not everyone was, the voices were heard. So I started out thinking about oral history. I thought about educators, thought about the band, sports, the queens, last graduating class, and then graduates. I was trying to get a graduate from each class. And so when I took the time to look and go back and interview people, it was just a great thing for me, simply because of the fact a lot of people let me in their homes and they were willing to tell their stories. There are a lot of stories. There's some people, I still have, recordings and pictures that did not make it to that room. So that's the reason why I say it's the tip of the iceberg. Say, for instance, the queens, the pictures of the queens. I think Edward has a colorized picture of the queens. That did not make it to the room. Let's talk about the 1963 girls basketball team that won. That didn't make it to the room. I had a chance to interview Miss Edna Earl Bellamy. She was on that team. So there's so much more that can be done. It was just the tip of the iceberg. And I think, me speaking personally, someone else needs to pick up the mantle.
Well, let me say that referencing those items that did not make it to the room, and they haven't gotten there yet, right? It's still absent. Is that correct?
Yes. I don't think they're going to add anything else to the wall. They have showcases and things of that nature, right. But I have not been involved with the room, since everything was finished. I know that they just won that award, and that was great, but that tells me that there's more to come. This is the tip of the iceberg. We should take that award and work it to our advantage to have something else, capitalize on it. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good start. As far as I've got to be honest, the time that I've attempted to go inside that room, were not very good. I had to be stopped at the door, and so I just looked from. It's a good thing it's a glass door. I believe that's what. So if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have gotten at least a glimpse. Kind of remind me of 1950s when you wouldn't allow us in. But anyway, a couple of those items, we're going to try and get to you, okay, and make sure that we can. I don't know if they have the room for them, but like the girls' basketball and what about the boys' basketball championship?
I don't think that's in there. I mean, there's a lot that's on the wall. And as far as visitation, I know last year during Christmas holidays, we tried to set up something so that alumni could come and visit, and very few did. So that's something that has to be, as far as visitation, that has to be worked out with the district.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Becky, I'd like to know, and I'm sure our audience members watching would like to know, you said that the district reached out to you to work on this project. And of course, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Whittemore school system and its significance to Horry County, we have a very rich and deep history that's rooted in actually just about anyone who's come from Horry County and who had, relatives. We are the descendants of some of those people who came through Whittemore. We are some of the alums. And so we already feel within our heart of hearts why it's important for us to capture this history and to make sure that it's commemorated somewhere. And with the district reaching out to you to say, let's do this, for those of you who don't know, the actual original site of Whittemore High School was the home of Whittemore Park Middle School. And of course, it was relocated to a site that is several miles away, that is not really rooted in, the footprint of that particular area and its significance to even the residential radius around that area. And so what's left behind is a great building, just known as Rivertown Complex now. There's a great landmarker there that, pretty much signifies what that piece of property means to the city and to the county. But now that it's, the school has moved, there's definitely a different kind of, acknowledgement of Whittemore Park, in that it's in a space that's not really a space that's like familiar to us as family of Whittemore, right? And so a legacy room like this, in my mind, definitely opens up that space to invite those of us who are deeply connected to the Whittemore roots to come in and to try and make that new Whittemore Park middle space a part of what we know, a part of our culture, right?
Yes.
So, when the district reached out to you, what exactly did they say as far as, why they felt it was significant, and that they needed to do that? Because, in the scheme of things, when you think about it, did they really have to do it? I'm sure that, the community probably would have pushed back a lot on it, and probably did, to make sure that something followed the Whittemore name. But, what was the district's position? I think the community needs to know that.
I would say that they wanted a continuation in some form for Whittemore. They had, the room was already developed in the blueprints. Now, the question was, what was going to go into the room? And so the idea was pitched, and about all of the photos. So, and the great thing about that is that, I look at this as we're the only one. We're the first. I like that, because I don't know of a school in the state of South Carolina that has done such an undertaking. So I like the mere fact of being the first. And I've had people ask me, how did we do it? Can they do it? You have to do the work. You have to put the work in. You have to talk to people. You have to visit people. You have to ask, can I borrow these yearbooks? And make sure you return them. And I'm gonna just say, there's a lot of stories. I'm thankful to God that I was able to interview some of our educators that have passed, like Mr. Holmes. And, he told me, Becky, what happened to you? What have you been doing? But he let me borrow the yearbooks, but I had to sign a piece of paper to say I was going to bring them back. So that Mr. Holmes, I'll tell you. And so I have his voice, even though we have the pictures. I have his voice. Miss Torrey, I made a trip with Janet Lawrence Patton to North Carolina to get her voice. So it's important, even though I still have information that I passed on to Dr. Gause, it's important that we utilize what has been captured. Because really, as I say again, it's just the tip of the iceberg. This is something that afforded us to go further. What can we do with this information, and from a different perspective, from several perspectives, to put us in a place that we are just so thankful about it, and for generations to come. I mean, really, for this thing to make it all the way to Washington, we just started wanting to put some pictures on a wall, and now you get an award for it. I mean, they interviewed me, and I was like, if anybody has anything like this going on in their community, do it, because it's generational. So there's more to come. This is the tip of the iceberg. That's why I've been talking to Dr. Gause about it. There's so much more that we can do, and the thing about it is, you need to interview the people. Some of the people, I would say, out of the last graduating class, right? It talks about, to me, it tells what was instilled in us as a people, okay? Judge Butler, we got a judge out of the last graduating class. We got the mayor out of the last graduating class. And we got an attorney who was the first elected solicitor. So that in itself, everything, if you review it and think about it, it instills pride in us even more. And it gives something for the younger generation to look at.
Did they take the marble bench that the class of 1962 placed at the Whittemore High School site? Did they move that, or is that still at the Rivertown complex?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about that.
I think it's still there, but we got to be very cautious. We got to keep monitoring that, because
right.
Okay, because they may remove it and have a justification as about construction is needed or pipe running certain place and all that kind of stuff. But, we just have to stay alert on that.
And you may never see it again if you don't
That's
keep
right.
up with it.
That's true.
Right.
And I asked
It's
about
about-
that because my mom was class of 62 and her class did that. And so, I just wondered if that was a part of the, the move overall. One more question. Has there been any talk of maybe creating a room like this at the Rivertown complex? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you something that's interesting. That cape, they had to build a special shadow box for that cape. The cape that's in there. I don't know if it was for the queens or for the homecoming queens or just the Miss Whittemores, but to preserve that, a shadow box had to be created for that.
Okay.
I agree with.
No, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I agree with the word tip of the iceberg. And I just know, I think Judge can back me up on that. There's a lot of stuff out there that's really going to be forthcoming. Okay. I think people still have uniforms, they're band uniforms. Okay. And this room is just going to be too small. Okay. I just looking through the window, through the glass door, told me that. Okay. And there's some photographs that have value, have good historical value that's just almost priceless. Okay. So the word tip of the iceberg is correct. There's a lot more stuff that's out there. And again, going back to April's mom's class of 62, which donated that bench, we just got to make sure that either that bench stays there or you want to put it. I don't know. I don't agree that they should be moved in any form of fashion because it's a location of what was there. But if they decide to move it to the next Whittemore Park, that's up for debate. But I don't know.
So, Dr. Gause, as you think about the significance of the creation of this room, how does that, how does it impact your reflections on why it's important for us to make sure that we are preserving this history?
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation to participate in this conversation. I've had the opportunity on a number of occasions to view the Whittemore Legacy Room, and it's a really nicely put together room that highlights a good portion of some of the photographs and items that were a part of that legacy. It's critically important that we have more spaces like that. And as Miss Becky Dewitt has already noted, it's only the tip of the iceberg. I think what's also important to emphasize is the district's part in recognizing the importance of preserving that history. With the relocation in terms of the footprint for the new school and how far away it is from the community, to carry that legacy forward and having a space that helps to preserve where it came from, I think is vitally important because many of the students that attend that school, even staff and some of the teachers, because some are transplants, they don't know the history of the community. They don't know the people of the community. And I think that room not only helps to preserve the history, some of the experiences of those who attended Whittemore, but it also gives them a chance to learn about the history who are in the school, whether it be parents who are descendants of those who attended Whittemore, or even people who are not familiar or not from this area who can learn about the history. And I think having more spaces like this creates a different opportunity for the Black community now. The ball is rolling and the opportunity is. And so given the district has already created a spotlight with Miss Becky DeWitt's guidance, it now has opened a door that we now walk through and actually start moving forward with the preservation of more of our history, more of our stories, to tell what existed here during these times in which our forefathers and foremothers grew up, lived, and what they saw during those periods. So in essence, I think that is so important because the youth, they have to know what it took for them to be where they are in order to know where they're going. And so looking at the past and how we are having to be mindful that our older generations are continuously getting older and they're moving on. We have to not only document their history, but we have to document the present. Those who are doing the work now too, because that will bring in those younger generations because they can see in real time history being made. And it's that they can see history being made by many of the people in the community who are running businesses still in the community, who are very integral to the churches that are doing the ministries that are supporting the community, those schools that have the educators that are still putting in the work to try to get our young people to a place where they can grow and develop. We have to document that history too, but that space for our young people to plug in. And so if we do that while we're documenting that previous history, we will have more people, more hands at the table who are willing to do that work if they can see the work while it's happening.
So true.
So, Judge, let's hear from you, brother.
Well, Becky asked me about this a while back, and I thought then, knowing her, it was a very good idea because so much of the history of our schools that we could tell about Whittemore High School. And it all started with the teachers. We had a lot of teachers who were very motivational towards us, taught us a lot of things, encouraged us to do a lot of things, so much we can thank them for. And they were always there for us. That's the thing. They encouraged us. One of the things that I always remember personally there was that I was a band student there. And Leslie Mike, I was very important to us during those days. We always said he was a man before his time, with the bands, because he taught us music. Not only music, he taught us theory that we needed to go on when we went on to college. So when I got to my college days, I was already playing college music, and I knew theory. But it came from them. They wanted to teach us, they encouraged us, wanted us to be the best that we could be. And he's just one. Even when I got out of college and went to work, one of the teachers that helped me go to work was James Earl Spain. One that also encouraged us when we were in high school. So they continued to encourage us even after high school, after college.
And I want to speak on that, following up with the judge. A lot of people don't know how many people that we call them Daddy Mac sent to college on those music scholarships. A lot of people in Conway and Horry County got a chance to go to college because of Mr. MacIver and his connections and his expertise and what they learned. When I interviewed him, and he can talk, it was a great time to sit down and talk with him and listen to stories about the marching band. Now, okay, that Whittemore band, that was premier back in the day. And the drum majors, okay, I talked to one living drum major, Kenneth Bellamy, and he was telling me about how it was when they went to the Azalea Festival. These are stories. I didn't even tap into all of the stories that I needed to tap into. I didn't get a chance to talk to people who were nurses or some of the janitors. One thing people don't realize is that a lot of times janitors have a lot of influence on students. So we didn't even think about that. So it's just so much more that can be revealed and talked about. One thing I thought was very important was the five students that integrated Conway High School. Right. I got a chance to interview Dr. Veronica Gerald. She was a professor at Coastal. I have her voice and have her pictures, but it did not make it to the room. We got Dr. Preston McKeever Floyd, of course. I got Michael Hughes. His voice and his pictures may have made it to the wall, but didn't make it to the room. So there's so much more. The students now need to know about these people and what they went to. I think they were in the graduating class of 1968. They need to know the stories and how they felt and what they went to accomplish. This was a great feat at that time.
I really think we need, you mentioned pictures, but I think we need video of them talking to or saying something in any kind of form so that people will know our next two generations coming up will know what kind of person they can kind of improvise and say, oh, wow, like Mr. Flagler was this, or Mr. Holmes, Mr. J.J. Holmes was this, just looking at him talk. He doesn't have to say things relevant to what they did at Whittemore, but just the fact that they would be talking. I mean, you have that kind of video. I think it's going to be very, very priceless in the coming years.
What I did was I started out with the concept of oral history. And then as we got closer, then the videos came that we did. I don't even have Dr. Buddy Lee, but I have his voice. So I have a lot of recordings that I've turned over to Dr. Gause. I've turned over to him. But like you said, we need to catch now and go to the next level and get videos as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Got to have a concept. You got to have a vision. Your vision can't be multiplied unless somebody else can see what you see. And when they see what you see and buy into the concept of the vision, that's when it multiplies.
Okay. I also like to add that, the Whittemore Legacy was not just about the school. It was about everything that was built as a result of the school or people who put schools together. We had Dr. Kelly's building, and we can talk many pages about that being the first Black doctor, probably in Horry County or around for many, many, many counties, and having our own drugstore. Like drugstore. I mean, that was unheard of. Probably not just in South Carolina, but North Carolina too. I mean, it's just one of those things. We had our own volunteer fire department. Okay.
And think of so many businesses that were close to the school at that time. A lot of businesses were there. Laundry had on laundromat, and
Right, grocery.
Grocery stores were close in that area.
And a pulpwood, they call it pulpwood, but Mr. Wright had employed many people. Driving pulpwood. The same industry exists today. You see drivers driving pulpwood back and forth to wood manufacturers and stuff and wood processing. But this. You're talking about 60 or 70 years ago, I guess. Right.
And I think what you can take from that is Conway had a Black business district. And similar to how the history has been told about Tulsa and its Black business district and its Black Wall Street, similarly, Conway had the same in the sense of a Black community that created its own spaces for business, church, for education, and thrived, not just existed, but thrived. Speaking of how you're highlighting how so many young people were hired and received jobs, this was a thriving community historically. And I think that part of the history, the young people will not get unless we're documenting these stories, who actually lived and experienced it. Whether they ran a business or they were one who was in the community, who saw that business, who engaged with the people in the community, who actually can say how the community thrived and how it supported those that came after them. That's the bridge from the past to now. We need to make certain that bridge is maintained so that people can cross that bridge going back and seeing what happened back then, but also coming back forward to see where they're going. And so we have to make certain that we're taking the time to not only getting those conversations documented as much as we can. If we can't get the video, at least get the audios so that this can be classified as in education primary sources. And we can utilize these pieces of information to teach the youth. Because all of them can be incorporated into the academic curriculums of a school. And if it's not where teachers understand how to do that, there's always avenues to teach them how to do that. And if they're not ready to do that, then that falls back on us to teach it during the summer and after school so that people understand that their history isn't just something that took place, but it's something that matters. And it gives them purpose and understanding for what they need to do now and moving forward.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
absolutely. I certainly agree with that. And you having said that, I think we now have to wonder whether if a book is published on all of this, whether it would be allowed into our school. You have to think about that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Yeah, that's real. If you talk about that, they may not even allow it based on what I've been seeing today, coming under the word CRT. Okay, that might not be allowed in the schools. So, but
Most
then, huh?
likely it will not be, and
Okay,
that's not. And,
but
and
that's good.
I was going to say
That's
that's not
good.
necessarily a bad thing. That really
That's good. Okay.
that to me that means they've been consistent. They've been
Right.
consistent with ensuring that the history is not taught to the mass population. But it also denotes that the history is so important that they don't want that part included because it changes the narrative. It shows that our footprint is really entrenched in society, and much of what has transpired over the years has been because of the involvement or because of the contributions of our community. I take my hat off to Whittemore Race Path Historical Society, folks like Reverend Cheryl Adamson, Miss Priscilla Fuller, Miss Joella McQueen, putting in, and so many others who are working in that organization to try and solidify footprints by acknowledging families, institutions in the community so that the history is preserved, but also it gives us a chance to come together and acknowledge that together. And so how do we pull that forward? Because typically, our young people, they don't know that history yet. And so initiatives like summer camps, particularly like a freedom school, which now there's one in Horry County, the Palmetto Works Freedom School. It emphasizes building in the community, building those relationships, but it also creates space to highlight the history of the community. And so having those kinds of spaces and creating more of those spaces will enable the youth to be learning about this history as we're documenting it. And it gives a bridge. And then on top of that, you can bring in the community members. Like over the summer, Miss Becky Dewitt came in and she was able to engage at that Freedom School and so many others. And so we're hoping like spaces like the Freedom Schools are places where not only the youth can connect with those who have lived these experiences, but then they can also be places where this history can be preserved, highlighted, and valued.
So let's talk about access. There is a question. Priscilla Fuller asked, how can this room be open more frequently? What is the plan for access, Becky, for the community?
I am not sure about that. They would need to check with the district. I would suggest that they check with Kenny Jenrette or the principal of Whittemore Park Middle, simply because of the fact, there are rules and regulations and for access. But I would check with them.
Okay. All right.
Because I haven't had a chance to do anything since I've done that. So I'm kind of like laid back now. I'm retired, but I'm laid back.
Well, you deserve vacation after that. So it's interesting that you all mention other organizations that, of course, have the Whittemore name, doing things in the community that point to the history, that highlight the history, that are also trying to preserve the unity of or create unification of the alumni base. So we have the Whittemore Race Path Historic Society. You have the Whittemore Alumni Association. This legacy room has been created. Have there been any collaborations across the board as far as talking about what next steps are? And if not, then, how can we ensure that there is more collaboration across these organizations? Because I feel like there's strength in unity. And so as long as the organizations are a unified force, then it's kind of like hard to deny, right? So can any of you talk to, conversations across the table about how the organizations can unify to continue this movement?
Well, we hope that we are able to unify all the groups that are working and the importance and show the importance of what these groups bring from the Whittemore Spectre side. You have Smith Jones also involved, the history of Smith Jones Recreation Center. Kids don't know the history of that. A lot of people don't know the history of how Smith Jones blends in with all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I, and at the and any time that we can get together and work together towards strengthening those groups, I think would be well off.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think to add to that, what's going to be, I would say, um, something that has to happen is ensuring that everybody's voice, as much as possible,
Mm-hmm.
is heard.
Right,
I think the collaboration can happen if there's an understanding of how people's voices will be included and in what ways. Um, I think for starters, um, the plan for preservation for this area may need to take a step back to be more broad to ensure that everybody's voice is going to be heard. And having an umbrella that will enable everybody to come up under that umbrella in some capacity will ultimately tell everybody's story. And so now that's in theory, that's how it sounds, and it sounds good.
yeah,
And I think that ideally it can happen. But I think when we're really thinking about long term and longevity, the sustainability, we're going to have to recognize that there's going to have to be some happy compromise,
right,
because not only are we trying to ensure that everybody's stories are heard, but how does this live beyond just the families? So how can this be something that could be used for research purposes, and how can Coast be help promote this initiative to help sustain it? How can the city of Conway invest in this plan to sustain and preserve the history? And so to have a not necessarily one unified goal, but having some type of umbrella that will encompass everybody in a way where it could be the history of the Black communities in Conway or in Horry County, to have some broad initiative. And then from there, you can start working within that to try to figure out where the pieces fit best. And so that
Mm-hmm.
his voice can actually be included. And I think that that will create the opportunity to bring everybody to the table, because you can't really highlight the history of this area without emphasizing the role of Black churches. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do this work unless you're highlighting the role of the schools. And then
Mm-hmm.
there, you can't do this because you had Black business owners. So everybody's contribution is so critically important to understanding what took place here over time. And so really looking at it from a perspective where we can find space to talk about, well, what does that look like when we're highlighting the history of this area, so that everybody still can have their piece in the talk, in the conversation, as a part of the plan, and not feel like they're excluded. And I think that that will help us to move forward, but also bring in larger entities, larger investors, people who want to see this history preserved, and they see the value in it, because now we're working as a collective as opposed to in silos.
I think working as a collective too, Dr. Gause, and getting that type of support, or creating that kind of awareness from from just being the exposure that could come from that, can not only help create these smaller initiatives like the legacy rooms that really are big in nature, but we really need in the community a place that is our own, where we can showcase all of the artifacts and meet as a community. And the only way to do that is to pull together resources to create a space that, we can kind of curate in the way that we really want to curate it, and celebrate our culture in the way
Mm-hmm.
that we want and need to celebrate the culture. So I hope that, I think what you said is poignant and essential to any conversations that will happen beyond tonight, because if we can pull together, the voices, the resources, do as the Legacy Room has done nationally to create, more awareness of these types of initiatives and historical preservation efforts, then it could lead to something even bigger, our own museum, and
So
in
right.
our community, and then we wouldn't have to worry about where the marble bench is going to go because we know where it's going to be. So I think I hope that those who are listening will, take to heart and to mind everything that you've described, and will also embrace all of the efforts that are being made, separately, but realizing that it impacts the collective. So just want to, show some of the comments that are coming up. Like Carolyn Hickman Williams said, working together is the key. So that is definitely essential. Putting, agendas, egos, everything aside, and just working together as one. So what I want to do, I've been scanning through the Legacy Room page on the Horry County School District's website. I had no idea that the Whittemore High yearbooks were scanned and made available as digital in a digital format. I'm so excited right now. I can't even tell y'all. This is going to be a great, walk through history, a walk through time, right? And I'm going to show it in just a moment. But also, Becky was able to gather some photos. And Cedric Blaine Spain, I'm going to give you credit for this because you'll probably see your face in a photo or two. But Cedric made a post a couple of weeks ago, and that's what kind of sparked the idea to have this show. But some photos from the Legacy Room. So I'm going to add that to the screen right now. And we're just going to kind of scroll through it. Becky, if there's some things that you want to, talk about, or Judge Butler, or even Brother Edward, as you see them, it would be great to kind of take this walk down memory lane. So this looks like the initial gathering. Was this the grand opening of the room?
Yes, that was the grand opening of the room. And we had a lot of people to come through. They found themselves, they found family members. And, it was just great to have access to all of these pictures. And they did put them on iPads. So some people sat down and scrolled through yearbooks. I think I got from 1952 through 1970. There were a couple of years that there were not yearbooks, but it's just, people sitting down to look at themselves and look at their friends. This was a great thing.
We all know who this gentleman is.
Oh, yes.
Another icon in the community.
He's still part of the law enforcement in Horry County.
Yes.
I don't think he ever will not be. Yeah.
I'm serious.
He's always going to be a part of law enforcement.
Yeah, he's still working. Still working in the sheriff's office.
Yeah. So, of course, I have some of these photos mixed in. Becky, thank you for providing cheerleaders. Do you remember what year this is?
I think that's 1970. I see Diane Boomel.
Yeah, 70.
1970.
That's 1970. There's Pauline Crittenden. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the good thing was these people came to the room and they found themselves and saw themselves and they were like, oh, I mean, it's awesome because I still have the treasures.
That looks like Yvonne Savage there.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and see a Friday, I think it is, and
yep.
Wow, it's so amazing. Is that okay? She's a Bess now. Is that Bess on the end? There's so many people. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you have no idea. We have to find a way for this to either be on a website or it has to go to the next level. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just so much. There's Judge Butler and...
okay. No, that's not... Is that Butler? That's not Judge.
That's me. I look studious.
That's Judge. You know who Michael looks like you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see
Everybody tells me that.
Yeah. Michael looks like you. So check this out. Verdell Beckman is watching. Of course, Verdell is usually one of the first in the room. She says she's on the end. Okay, so that's Verdell right there.
That's Verdell. Oh, yes. On the left. Oh, yeah. Looking at it, she's at the very end. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Edna Bellamy DeWitt in the glasses. Okay. Janet Lawrence Patton says Edna Bellamy DeWitt is in the glasses. Yeah, it's amazing to see these pictures. Okay. Oh, wow.
So that was our drum major there. That's Kenneth Bellamy.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I think those are pictures of the girls when they won the basketball tournament
Okay.
Championship, yeah.
championship team.
5
Yeah.
Point Pharmacy, Highway 378. 5
Yep.
Point, 5 Point Pharmacy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So that shows the commerce, that was in retail shops, the advertisements for those. Senior officers.
Dr. Buddy Lee.
Mm-hmm. President. Wow.
And got that's
That's
Marva.
That's
and
Marva.
brother-
Mhm.
That's Marva.
Mm-hmm. And I did a thing where I captured girls on cars. I thought that was excellent because it talked about our parades.
Mm-hmm.
There's the girls that won.
Girl.
Coach Mention. Wow.
2, 3. A number of them are still with us. Yeah.
I think Miss Edna Earl Bellamy. I interviewed her.
Well, this is okay.
This FFA, Student Council. Amazing. Student Council group here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, down at the bottom. The Foreign Language Club.
Hey, look, man, we must have had it during those days. I'm serious.
That's really fun again. I try to get in every picture I could.
Oh man, we must have had it there. This is really
Back in the Legacy Room. This is another photo from the Legacy Room. So many people there. And the purple and gold standing out. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right.
And that's the iPad, and she found herself in the yearbook.
That's special. Mm-hmm. Everyone just enjoying the whose idea was it to do the wallpaper? That's an amazing idea.
Very good.
Go ahead, Becky. That was an amazing idea. Yes.
I'm not saying anything.
that was really you deserve the credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, people were really into it. Look at that on the floor, looking at I guess because there were so many pictures, it was just hard probably to take it all in. You just had to get a nice space and and
I just turned that over to the communications department, and they just laid it out and put it up there. So that's my disavowalment of anybody's picture not making it up there. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So I just collect the pictures.
Yeah. So
there's Mr. Rainbow.
Mr. Rainbow on the right, and Reverend Lonnie Chestnut, Senior, 96 years old, my uncle, right here on the left. Very special for him to see this.
He was in the 1952 yearbook.
Okay.
Yes, and I got a good story with him.
Wow.
Well, he's going to have some better stories coming out with his daughter, Cassandra. She's working on this book. So far, it sounds very, very interesting.
Oh, yes. He was very interesting to talk to. Everybody that I had a conversation with and recorded, I didn't spend any less than, it was an hour, sometimes hour and a half, 2 hours. Just depends upon who was talking.
Right.
Really?
So I want to show this page on the Horry County School District's website. You can go to the site and see more information about the Whittemore Park Legacy Room. There's some more pictures from the opening, but also a couple of videos, one that actually showcases the Whittemore Legacy timeline, and it starts with where the Whittemore name came from. And then this is the part that really excites me, the Whittemore High yearbook. So I'm going to click on this, and I may have to stop sharing and actually go to the other screen. I think I'll do that because I want everyone to actually see this piece of it. Let's see, stop the screen. Let me try this real quick. So, yeah, there it is.
So that just goes to show how much history there is. All of those yearbooks I touched and scanned.
So you click on the book that you want to see and look at this through.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yes.
That is fantastic. You can flip through the pages of the book. And wow, look at that.
That's great. That's really.
This is remarkable. It really is.
It really is.
I did return them. So to make sure whoever I borrowed from, I did return.
In retrospect, it's not okay, but it is okay to see the pages that were torn. That represents the authenticity of it and the age.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely just
I
want to
think
show
is
this.
that not like
This
1960
was
something?
That's a 53 there.
That was
53?
53.
Mhm. 53. And so you have books from, it looks like you have 53, 56, 57, 58,
Mhm.
59 and 60. You have 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and 70.
Surprised you don't have 63. What happened to 63?
Where's 63?
I probably have it. You can check with me or Dr. Gause, because I still have all of them.
Well, that's Edna Earl's. That's Edna Earl's. She should have one.
Yeah.
Her class.
I still have 63. I probably do. I just have to look through all of the stuff that I have. They're on a flash drive in here somewhere. I'm not throwing anything away.
And when you look at this legacy room just represents one part of the community, the school.
Yes.
But it has an impact on the entire community because of the people and the various spaces that they occupied. So you can talk with anyone that was from the community during this period, and they have a multitude of stories that they can share about their life because everybody's experience is different. So it's critically important we capture as many as we can while we have time and capitalize on the momentum. The youth, they're somewhat not connected to the history, but there are ways to connect them to how to document the history. Kids love technology, and so to create pathways to teach them how to use the technology they already know how to use to preserve history would lure them into helping to document the history. They can do oral because they love to talk. And there we can learn from them how to convert those resources into other resources that they would be able to share with their own age groups. It's nothing for them to take a little snippet and turn it into a TikTok and share about somebody in their family. But now that can go viral. But then it leads others back to the source. And so there are definitely ways we can bridge these gaps, but we have to start capturing those stories as much as we can. And so if folk are willing to take the time to share the resources that they may have that could be digitized, or to take the time to sit down and allow somebody to capture their voice and their story, that would be what we would need to do as a next step.
What I've seen, but in a number of churches that I've been to, in photography, I think the churches were Whittemore. Okay, they were Whittemore. They have in some of their not legacy rooms, I guess if you want to call it, but they have kind of like historical rooms where they preserve their photos of people who were part of their those groups that they had, and some of those people in those groups are from Whittemore. Okay, I mean they're talking about old photos, really. And that could be a resource that we should really tap into a little more thoroughly.
I was going to say, I think because the spotlight is on this project and it has gained national attention, now is the time for momentum. You got to take it and run with it because it's the tip of the iceberg and we're under the spotlight. Let's let the momentum continue.
Very good. Very good.
Well, this has been a fantastic discussion, and the artifacts and pictures are just phenomenal. And it's great to see from whence we came. Becky, thank you for your work on this, Dr. Gause, and also Judge Butler for being a part of the broadcast tonight, and any others who deserve accolades for this tremendous work. We appreciate all of you. The question Shirley Wiggins wants to know is, where is the Whittemore Park Legacy Room located? So Becky, you want to let everybody know where it's located?
Oh my goodness, it's in the Whittemore Park Middle School, and I don't know the address.
I can't think of how to get that.
All I know is Mill Pond Road. I mean,
Yeah, I know how to
El
get there.
Bethel.
I'm
It's
just
El Bethel Road.
I mean,
Yeah.
El Bethel.
El
Oh, okay.
Bethel, yeah.
On El Bethel Road.
El
So
Bethel Road,
most
yeah.
people know it as the back way to Walmart.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Where the new Whittemore Park
Yeah.
Middle School has, it's been constructed. So, and as it was mentioned earlier, the best way to do it is to get in. If you want to know more about how to access the room, you can be in touch with the administration at Whittemore Park Middle School. Quintina Livingston is the principal, or you can get in touch with the school district. If you're unable to get in touch with her, ask for Kenny Jenrette, or just ask in general. They may be able to give you information. But this was a wonderful show. We just thank you so much for being here this evening, and just keep up the good work. That's all I can say. It's wonderful. And Becky, you talked about kind of passing on the mantle.
yes.
Getting others involved. What can the community do to get involved in this project, to get beyond the tip of the iceberg? What can we do?
I think each of the groups that you mentioned before should meet, and they should catch the fire, because the opportunity has been presented. So we have the opportunity presented to us to go forward, catch the momentum. And as Dr. Gause said, spread out. We can enlarge our territory. This was just one little, this was a little toe on the footprint that we're making. So we need the other 4 toes. You want to make a footprint, you got to use all the toes.
All the toes, that's right.
So, we call it all the toes.
Yeah. Good job, Becky. Really good job.
Thank you.
Dr. Gause, do you have any comments as we close out?
I think everything's been captured in this conversation that needs to happen. Miss Becky Dewitt summed it up well. We just have to keep moving forward while the iron is hot. We have to strike.
Yeah.
And so anybody that's willing to take part in the work, I would encourage you to do so, because even a small contribution can lead to a big impact. Be the person who may know someone who has some items that would be good for preservation. Everybody has something that they can contribute. And so no matter how large or small your contribution, it still matters. And so if anyone would love to get in touch with me, I'd be happy to touch base with you to see how we can actually do what's necessary to preserve your items and actually include it into a larger preservation project.
All right. Well, Brother Edward, is there anything you want to say to close out the show?
I'd like to say that I had this vision, since we were all talking about closing all the inadequacies of our legacy room and building our own museum legacy room, probably on at the Smith Jones, on that area. You're talking about 12 acres of land out there. Okay, that's just my vision. Okay, and part of that was realized in our June issue, I believe, of the magazine, where it was a conceptual building of what was conceived some 15 years ago, I believe, 12, 15 years ago, about what a building should look like at Smith Jones land. So let's kind of work towards having our own museum out there and / legacy room. I think it's feasible.
Brother Edward, I can speak to that briefly. One thing that has been catching on across the state and in some other states is that folks are starting to preserve a home and turn a home into a museum.
That's a great idea.
In Orange,
that's good right there.
Carolina, Mr. Cecil Williams, who is a renowned photographer who helped document the civil rights movement, he built his first home, and then he built his second home and turned his first home into a civil rights museum. And
we've had him on the show.
And now Orangeburg, the city of Orangeburg, is now relocating his museum to downtown. So over the years, he's been able to bring in so many people checking out his museum that now they want it more centralized in Orangeburg, be close to SC State and Claflin University, where the students now will have greater access to it than where it was currently. in this footprint. So,
well, it sounds like we need to get a realtor involved or someone who
That's a
can
good idea.
with, and really, if we look around our community, there's so many homes that are, just a part of the community that are either near dilapidation or, might be heirs property that they may be willing to do something with. Who knows? But that is an excellent idea to turn
Absolutely.
a home into a museum
Yep.
in the community. That's a wonderful idea. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Let me say this.
Yes.
Before, I just want to thank you and Edward, April, for bringing it to most of everyone's attention who has not seen it or heard of the Legacy Room. Y'all have been very instrumental in doing this, and we want to thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, you're welcome,
we appreciate that. Yeah. And of course, we love to bring stories like this and topics and issues that impact our community to the show every Tuesday night. So if you have a great topic or someone that is making history or, we're doing a spotlight on local authors. There's so many authors and great talent coming out of Horry County lately. Please let us know. Drop a comment on my personal page, or you can go to the World Community Magazine's page and, send us a message in our inboxes. If you are connected to me, you can always send me a message. You can always get in touch with Brother Edward. There's so many ways through the WCMmagazine.net website. But, we would love to know what else is going on in the community so that we can have great shows like this. And we just want to thank everyone who supported tonight, who watched. Please pass on a share of the link so that others can see it who cannot make it tonight to the live audience. And so we're working on next week's show, and we hope to see you all again next week, 7:00, same bat channel, right, Brother Edward?
Bat channel. Same bat channel. We all got our fans.
Yeah, and maybe next week, Brother Edward, we can highlight the closing of the Summer Jobs and Summer Literacy Program. We didn't have a chance to share any photos of the two programs this show, but we do have some wonderful things that we can share with you, and we'll see what else we can put into it.
I think it's going to be great. So, some of the people who attended that want to know if we're going to share that on the broadcast. Yeah, got a number of questions about that, so I think it's a good idea.
And the August edition of the World Community Magazine is now on the website, wcmagazine.net. You can access it until next month, of course. And I'm sure Brother Edward will get out copies to those of you who are subscribers. So thank you all again for being here this evening. We really appreciate it. And to everyone else, have a great week.
Godspeed.
Thank you.
See y'all.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.